Welcome back. In today's QuickJS video, we are going to implement fetch function. We need fetch so we can make the HTTP requests, so we can act like HTTP client. Since QuickJS is really simple, lightweight, embeddable JavaScript engine, it doesn't come with the event loop and it doesn't come with any HTTP client server like libraries or functionalities. It has some sort of client requests for just getting stuff, but we'll see how we can implement without actually using the event loop fetch. So fetch will not be, it will look like it's not blocking, non-blocking, like it's asynchronous, but it'll be actually blocking and synchronous, and it will be based on the subprocesses. So let's see how we can implement this using a QuickJS and a cURL, and how we can make the connection between a QuickJS and a cURL subprocess and just make a regular HTTP client. Okay, for that, before we start, we will need the HTTP server. My advice is to go with json-server. So we're gonna run this using a node. So I'll create a new directory called example json-server, and let's say 0. npm init, and answer with yes, and then let's say install a JSON server. After it's installed, we will need this file, and we should that's the regular JSON file. So we should name it db.json as suggested. And right now I'll just fire and say and node modules bin JSON server db.json. All right, so let's see if we can actually open this in browser. This is get request. It works super. Let's check posts. This is also get request. This is get request. This is get request. So first, what we're gonna do, we're going to implement get request, and we are going to test this with the fetch. So I'll just leave a JSON server running in a terminal in one tab, and another one we're going to implement example and using the fetch and actually implement the fetch function for this. So let's call this example, it'll be here, it'll be called example fetch 0.js. Okay. And we will also need fetch.json. So this is polyfill. You know, it's like a implementation. If the fetch is missing, we'll use it from here. So that's what we are doing. But we cannot use the existing polyfills because we don't have XHR classes for making these requests, asynchronous requests over network. They don't even come into a QuickJS. I'll show you right now that to make sure that they are not included and the reason why we need to implement them. So let's check. Let's go to QuickJS and just type fetch. Fetch is not there. No. Let's see if X. No, nothing is here. MDM XHR. So XML HTTP request. There is no such a class. Excellent. I mean, it's at the same time good and not good. Not good. It's not good because it doesn't exist. It's good because we need to implement it right now. And we are going to see how this implementation looks from the JavaScript side. So we are not implementing the native module. What we are going to do, we're going to create a polyfill using the subprocess, and the fetch function will look like it's returning the promise, and to end user, they should notice if they are using a real fetch or our polyfill. That's the whole purpose of this. The only drawback will be the fetch will be blocking, and you'll see really soon. Since I have experimented with this before, but I haven't done anything like really, official and production ready. You'll see the whole process of thinking behind and reasoning, and I'll record that on the video. Just I'll cut, dummy parts and not interesting parts. So the only interesting parts will stay in this video. Without further ado, let's begin. So let's say export default function fetch, and let's say I'll return just 1 for now. So make sure that fetch it can be imported. So right now I'll say import fetch from fetch. And I'll say console.log fetch. I'll just call it. It should return 1 and print 1. So if I do QuickJS and this example, fetch 0.js reference, could not load module name fetch. Oh, it's fetch.js. All right, it works. It returns 1. So right now, let's do even more. So let's say fetch something from some URL HTTP localhost. Just to show you, this localhost is this one from here. I can just copy paste this. And then I would like to say, then if you get the result back, debug data, otherwise catch error. So let's use this, just error. This will fail because fetch doesn't return promise, but let's try so we can make sure it's not working. All right, it's not working. Type error, not a function, because then .then is actually undefined. Whatever this function returns, it's the integer. In integer, it doesn't have .then method, so that's why it says type error is not a function, and it's in line 6. Line 6. Interesting. All right. Let's now make sure we return the promise. So how promises work? Say mdn promise. Let's see actually if we have promise in QuickJS. We have promise. That's good. At least we have them. So promise works like this. With new, you create a new promise, and it accepts the function inside, where the first argument expected is resolve function, and the second argument is reject function. So type of this resolve is actually a function, and reject is actually a function. So we'll just copy paste this shamelessly. And let's say we are going to resolve in this case, and we're going to resolve with something like A10, B20. Okay. And we need also let P return P. So we need to return this promise. Okay, let's see right now if this works. It works, great. However, we don't have anything printed out. Let me just change debug to log for a second. Oh yeah, we have it. So we have the object returned. It's not, as you see, it's not human readable. In order to make it human readable, just say json.stringify. And then you'll get this object as a string printed out. Okay, I'll use the same thing here instead of this. So in this case, I decided that this fetch function actually was successful and returned something. We returned something. In case there is error, we will call function reject, and then we'll say the message is error. Something dummy, just to see if it's working. So right now, instead of going here, we're going here. And same thing, json.stringify. We call this function, there was an error, because on purpose we said reject this call. And then was skipped, and we ended up in catch. Great, we have right now fetch working as a promise, but there is something here that we need to also implement, and that's options. So we need to say, we should be able to say what kind of method this is. So we can say this is method get. All right. So what's the signature of fetch? So right now we are going to mimic fetch. MDN fetch API. We're not going to implement absolutely everything that fetch supports, just necessary bits. So fetch has the resource and init. Resource and init. And init, in case it's undefined, it will be method get. Okay, in case we don't say, we don't even write this part here, it will by default be assumed. Why is this important? Why is this important? This is important because right now we will need to do something. We'll need to create the curl, the correct curl request. And this curl request is like typing the curl in terminal, such as following. So we need to somehow bridge JavaScript and curl. How we can bridge them is through subprocess, and we can pass the command to subprocess. So it will look like this: curl xget, and this xget is going to be exposed, delete, update, put, depending on the method here. And then we have this resource is actually a URL. So http localhost 3000. Okay, and we got everything that was on this page. But if I type /posts, I should get this. So idea is to somehow turn the fetch request into this curl call. That's the whole idea. We're going to, so right now we should make the call to curl. And in order to do that, there is way actually in, there is std module embedded inside the QuickJS, which allows us to call the subprocess and create the pipe, which we can use to communicate with it. Let subprocess equals std p open, and then I said, for example, curl. I'll just hard code this for now. X get. Actually, I'll copy paste it. Excellent. Just to make sure, I'll use this kind of string, formatted string example. And let's see what's inside of console.log sp. What's this sp? And then I'll just, I'll resolve, because we need to end our program. sp is empty object. File prototype. I will be able right now to say, for example, read a string. So I'll say sp.read a string. Whatever is a result from here, I want to read that result and print it out. Command open subprocess deprecating pipe wrap to libcp open return a file object or null in case of error. If IO error object is not undefined, set its error NO property to error code of 0 if no error occurred. So I'll need also error object so I can see if there was an error. So let's say let error object is this one, and I'll pass it here. Oh, we also have flags. Okay, and for flags we need read, and it's just R as a string. Let's see right now. This is kind of interesting, really. Let's see if there is get line. Return the next line from the file, assuming UTF-8 encoding, excluding the trailing line feed. All right, let's check this one. Which means that nothing is executed. stdp open curl. How come is this not executed? This is interesting. Let's maybe change this to a regular string. Maybe there is a problem. Oh, no, that's not the problem. Definitely that's not the problem. So why console log? There is an error. Something somewhere is error. So maybe here. Anyway, I should make sure that at least I know it's error. Okay, so that means there is somewhere is error. Where? We don't know. Maybe here. Let's check this out. No, that's not an error. Let's see here. No, we haven't resolved, which is bad. So if I resolve like this, everything will be fine. Excellent. But here the problem is when I try to execute this command, curl x get http localhost 3000 posts, R for read, and I pass error object. I don't have to pass it actually. I can just really do something like this. This should still work. However, we get error, which means we don't see curl. Maybe let's try to do the following thing. Let's do this. P open. Just that. Like this. Now it's working. Now we get at least curl. Failed writing body. That's what it says. So let's say we execute this string here. What we're expecting the list. However, we just got one line as a result. Only this. Maybe we need to say read as string. So read basically everything, not just one line. Like this, yes. And now we got it. That's great. Okay, so I want to get rid of this. I don't want to see this curl output. Maybe there is a option in curl to hide this stuff. Silent. All right, let's say run curl silently. Yes, it works. So this way we can get the string. So right now, if I say let JSON equals, let's say data, or curl output, even better. Let curl JSON equals JSON.parse, and I'll say curl output. And in that case, we are going to return that curl JSON. Excellent. So let's see if here as data we'll get the real response from here. We made a request, excellent, and we got it back. So we got that list, and this is actually whatever we got back, and it was something like this. We got it back as a string, we parsed it to an array of objects. So here we have curl, this is data, and then result, but that's not really what fetch returns. What fetch returns is more something like this. So we need JSON as a function, and then if that's called, it should return curl JSON. That's it. However, there is a trick now. So let's, instead of doing this, I will make sure that here we actually have string, and that's from here. That's this one. Here we will have the method from init. So I can say method dot init dot method. Great. And I can say also let error sp error. So I can say sp error. I'll show you later why we need that. Let's now test if we can really pass this path and we can really say it's get and then get back the results. That's the whole thing. So let's see if this works. Oh, we got the error. Why? All right, let's prepare the let URL. Let's curl command. I want to see how this looks like before I execute it. Curl command. So it's curl as get localhost 3000. And why there is an error? That's a good question. Maybe error is because of this. Let's see. No, it's not that. Oh, it's here. So we should say data, then, okay, I want to show you one more thing. .json. That's not a problem. What's the problem? What can be the problem? All right, let's remove this. What can possibly be an error here? Unexpected token. So what kind of, okay, that's great. This is actually great. So fetch returns a couple of things. It has a JSON, but it also has I think text. We have headers, we have body, I'm not going to implement the rest. So response has okay or not okay. This is really important. So it's okay. Let okay equals 1 for now, or true. And we also have status. Let's say it's 200, but we'll need to find out actually from this curl when we make the call to curl. Response has headers. Okay, so this response is actually its class has headers. It has a URL. And that's going to be the same as resource here. So it's headers, okay. And then URL. And then we have body. The response implements body. So it also has the following properties. Body, blob, JSON, text. This one we need. So we need text. And it will return curl output. So curl JSON will only be executed as you can see, in case JSON is requested, otherwise it will be text. And this is actually response. So let response equals that. Let's be pedantic. In case, all right, let's see if this is working right now. It says data and something is not, okay, so there is no error at all, at least. So we can say data and I'll say text. That's data text. We got, that's everything from this page, so we are fine. However, if I try to execute JSON here, I'll have the problem because we cannot parse this, and that's fine. That's completely fine. So their error happened here, and that's the reason why we ended up here. However, if I put posts here, now I execute, now I don't have the problem. So now I can say this. There is always text. And this works. So we also see text and we will see JSON. All right. Usually how this is done is then you just say return data JSON, and here you have another then that gets result, and then in result we basically have what we are looking for. So we can say immediately res stringify res. That's it. Let's see if this works. So what we have right now, we have the working fetch. What we don't have yet is the following thing. So because fetch, we will need to be able to pass really complex stuff here. And somehow we need to convert this to a cURL command. Let's get back this SP error. Why I need it? I need it if I want to, for example, right now there should be an error. Response return nothing, but console log sp stringify error. Let's see what's inside. The error number error is no, but we didn't get back anything. So how come? Oh, there is its empty. Huh. Maybe it's created. No, it's not created. There was something actually returned. Let's say 3001. I want to find an error. There is error. So we went to error. Why? Because this one could not, we could not get read as a string. That's the reason why. That's good. So I don't need this one. Take posts 1 directly. So we say take posts 1. We directly got it, so it's not anymore list. It's right now, it was list before, but right now it's just that item, that post that we're looking with ID 1. Oh, there is one thing we haven't tested yet, and that's footing an item. So I have to be able to say body. Actually, let's do it properly. Headers, content, type, application JSON, body. And then we say JSON, and here it's gonna be posts, let's say 7. Thinify ID 7. Let's use Y70. Okay, let's see if this is working. All right, so we got 404. The problem is we didn't pass body. I have to say the following thing: if init method equals get, not equals get. So in every other case, say curl equals curl, and then we'll say -d. Right now, I will say init.body. Not like this. Okay. And there is one more thing. We are also lacking headers. So if init headers, say by default it's null. If headers not equal null, in that case, sample. See now. Check what kind of things. 404 post 7. Let's say something like this post. And now if I go here, yes, now I see 7. Excellent. So we are fine. But why I'm seeing this? I don't know why I'm seeing this. This is ridiculous. Let's try again. Let's try with something else. I'll try to add posts with ID 8 and Y80. Now execute. For some reason, this keeps happening. I'm not executing this query at all. So I think this is the problem with maybe a json-server. Who knows, maybe that's the bug we just discovered. I'm not sure why. If I go right now here, yes, everything's fine. Maybe it was some kind of bug. We don't know that. But what's important for us, we can have a REST API and passing the method and the custom headers and body, all these sorts of things work. So we were able to basically, and let's try to fetch now. I'll say fetch 9. And I'll not mention anything else because by default it should be, as I said, get method is get. And then I want to see JSON. Error. Why is there an error? It works. Init method is get. Let's see what kind of curl we try to execute. We try to execute curl xget this, and there was an error. All right, so let's do the following thing. Let's put this side inside of here. Error. say text. This is something else, really. Curl command we try to execute it's this one. That's it. Let's try again. It works flawlessly. So why do we have an error? Now let's do this thing. And we still, oh, this error is not, no. You see, that's the thing. Okay, I made a mistake here. So we already have, let's create some other ID. And for that, I'll need let ID. This means math random returns between 0 and 1 times 10,000. And then this means convert it to integer, basically. So I can use ID here, and ID times 10, or plus 0 is string, so it will add 0, and it will convert the whole thing into 0, and it will be value. So right now when I look for it, I'll look like this. ID, so that way at least let's say 1,000,000, yes. So right now, when I run this code, we should be safe. Yes, we created it and we got it. But this one, all right, so because I don't know which one is which, let's say this is 1, this is 1, this is 0, 0. I don't think order will be guaranteed. In order to make sure that first this one is created and then this one is called, call it here, like this. And make sure you return. So because fetch returns a promise again, so then we can catch the error. Whatever error happened here, somewhere here, or inside of here, this catch will catch it. That's the beauty of promises. All right, so now we're safe. So we made sure this command executed first, and then the second one, and got the value, and so we are fine and safe. All right, so I think I'll wrap up this video right here. So what we did, we basically implemented fetch. Next video, we'll see how fetch is used how we can import fetch and use this as a polyfill, and how Axios can benefit from this implementation. So without actually using any event loops, we were able to simulate the HTTP client just using the standard fetch API and cURL in the background running as a subprocess. That's all for today's video. I'll wrap up here. In next video, we'll see how Axios can benefit from this implementation of fetch polyfill, and we'll make some examples. More examples. I'll probably go over this example and just convert it to use Axios instead of fetch. Until next time, stay safe and stay good. See you soon. Goodbye.